Today's topic may be niche, but I feel like it doesn't get enough attention in the weight loss surgery world spotlight. Drumroll, please. Today, we are focusing on hormonal changes after weight loss surgery and also why these happen. So grab a cozy warm blanket, your favorite beverage, hit that subscribe button, and join me on this hormone journey of excitement. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of hormonal shifts after bariatric surgery. Our bodies are incredible internally and externally. Weight loss surgery triggers some pretty significant shifts in a post-op world. This is especially true of hormones and particularly in women. Today's video is going to be divided into two portions. The first portion is going to be informational, where I'm sharing knowledge about hormone shifts with you and how that might impact you. The second portion is going to be personal, where I am sharing my lived experience that probably crosses a line. No, definitely I'm going to share too much information with you. It's boundary crossing for sure, but I'm hoping that it could serve to be helpful if you have a similar experience. I promise to warn you when we get there, okay? For the informational beginning of this video, we're going to start by talking about the three hormones that are most affected. So your three hormones that are primarily most affected are going to be insulin, ghrelin, and leptin. The overview here is that your insulin sensitivity improves, your ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, decreases, and leptin, which is your satiety hormone, increases. Let's break that down. After weight loss surgery, no matter the kind, your body becomes more sensitive to insulin. This means that your cells actually respond more effectively to insulin. This is wonderful news because it helps regulate and stabilize your blood sugar levels. As I mentioned in last week's video, which was a roundup of some of my top tips for weight loss surgery success in the long term, I talked about how I went on a deep dive last year into nutritional information about my blood sugar levels. I only really started to see my body's sensitivity to insulin in a positive way through wearing my glucose monitor from NutriSense. My CGM allows me to track my blood sugar levels quite literally in my bloodstream and then provide real-time data. So I could physically see how my insulin and blood sugar levels were stabilizing throughout the day based on what I ate, when I ate it, and how I was moving. I watched my blood sugar stabilize through diet choices. And when I say diet choices, I simply mean what I'm eating, not that I'm on a specific diet. I could see improved energy levels for sure when my blood sugar is stable. My mood improves. Yes, I think that blood sugar and happiness or calmness go hand in hand, though I haven't necessarily read any data about that. That's my hypothesis because my mood improvement was significant. And of course, there's weight loss. But what does this mean for you? With the stabilizing of blood sugar levels, this means increased energy. And when I say increased, I also mean consistent, so that you're not experiencing that late afternoon slump where you feel like you need sugar to get through the rest of the day. It also means that you are not going to be dependent upon caffeine when first waking up. This also means a reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, which I know is one of the reasons why so many people actually go through with surgery. Some of my clients, in fact, most who were diabetic with type 2 pre-op, have seen their diabetes simply disappear a few months or so after post-op. We can't say that this is true 100% of the time, but we definitely see a stabilization in blood sugar levels because insulin is more sensitive. And improved metabolic health. This means that your metabolism is going to heal from the years, maybe decades of yo-yo dieting where your metabolism has been shot because you were constantly putting it through the series of like up and down. My metabolism was nearly non-existent pre-op. With stabilized insulin levels, you are going to experience long-term weight loss success when your metabolism is healthy and working faster, because it simply means you're going to lose more weight. This is a key. We must heal our metabolisms, and insulin is the way to do that. If you're interested in trying your own CGM, I do have a link in my description box where you can connect with NutriSense and figure out how to make that happen for you. If insulin is one of the reasons why you're interested in surgery, or you are looking for data on this and what can actually speed up your weight loss process post-op, a CGM is often the way to go. It gives so much good data. Let's talk about ghrelin. In my mind, ghrelin is this notorious hunger hormone that I read about in a diet book probably a decade ago, and they compared ghrelin to a hunger gremlin, and now I still have that vision. I can't ever think or speak about ghrelin without picturing him as like a little boogery green gremlin. After weight loss surgery, your levels of ghrelin decrease. But I want to be very clear. Your ghrelin, your hunger, that feeling of hunger doesn't go away completely, but it does shrink. For those of us who have struggled with constant hunger, overeating, binge eating, this is fantastic news that the ghrelin decreases. However, I just want to make sure I'm being clear to dispel the very popular myth that post-op you won't ever feel hungry again. That's just not true. While that would be magical, unfortunately, the ghrelin isn't completely removed from your stomach, so you do experience hunger. The first few weeks out of surgery where you are freshly post-op, it may be true for you that you don't experience hunger because your hormones are surging, peaking, and trying to figure out what's just happened to you. I've had clients be very excited about this, that the liquid diet, the early on stages of very soft foods or mushy, etc., are super easy because they're not hungry anyway, and then they're super discouraged when their hunger returns because their hormones are stabilizing. That's actually a good thing. But it can be frustrating when you're now experiencing hunger and it feels like you can't fill that void based on portion sizes or the specific post-op diet before you get into like your normal maintenance mode. So I want to be sure that you understand that. Your hunger hormone will return, but it's less intense than it used to be. That's a win. Also, reduced ghrelin levels make it so that you feel fuller longer, which means it's easier to adhere to smaller protein-based portions. This is the hormone we talk most about in BariTale coaching with my clients. Our head hunger, the one that has led us down the emotional eating path, where we overeat, we binge eat, or we look at eating as a solution for an emotional problem, is not in fact ghrelin related. It's really hard to differentiate between head hunger and physical hunger, often because we haven't listened to our bodies for such a long period of time. Again, it's because we haven't valued them, right? So when we start listening to our body after surgery, we can figure out the difference between the two, but it's not automatic. It doesn't come right away. So that's something we work through in coaching. I'll be talking more about this in upcoming videos, so make sure you are subscribed, join our BariTale community, and if you are interested in coaching, I do have just a few spots left for this Q1 season. I will leave information in the description box below. On the flip side of ghrelin, we have leptin. Leptin is the hormone that causes us to recognize when we are full. After weight loss surgery, your leptin levels tend to increase a little bit. So this is great because you're going to feel fuller faster, and it works in alignment with the fact that your tummy is now a fraction of the size it used to be. Leptin increase helps us feel satiated and fuller longer, just like a ghrelin decrease does. But leptin also helps us create a more harmonious relationship with food because it is the hormone that is related to overeating. So if we feel full, we're less likely to add on top of that. Once your relationship with food has shifted a bit, you are on your way to intuitive eating, and that, my friend, is the goal. We want a healthy, symbiotic, authentic, responsible relationship with food. And because of this hormone shift, weight loss surgery is in a position to get you there faster. So now that we know what happens, let's address the why. Why are these things happening hormonally post-op? One of the main reasons for this alteration in your hormones is because of the gastrointestinal anatomy. Surgery changes the way that our food directly interacts with our digestive system. And that leads to hormonal changes. So it's not that if you think, I am a hormonal person, my hormones have always been in flux, that you're more apt or you're more likely to have hormonal changes. We all experience these just on different levels. And understanding how these hormones can impact you post-op is a key for you to be able to succeed with your weight loss surgery. We want to work with these changes, not against them. This is going to optimize your lifestyle choices, your nutrition, your movement, your hydration, for maximum effectiveness, especially in that first 6 to 12 month window where you are likely to lose the most weight post-op. This is something that I am working on understanding. It's kind of one of my 2024 deep dive health goals. I want to work with my hormones, we'll talk more about that later, for optimizing my weight loss surgery management and success. I'm still in the process of losing weight. I experience weight loss stalls, and I feel like if I work with my hormones instead of fighting them, I'll be able to achieve more of my goals. Around my period, I also want to know more about the cyclical nature of what's happening in my body so that I can adjust my movement to work with my hormones and not against them. This is why women specifically, and those who are menstruating still, have more significant hormonal impacts than others. As promised, darlings, it is now part 2 of today's video, the personal section. I'm going to share a recent hormonal shift and change in my body and the effects of that, which are gross. If you're squeamish, this may be where you'd like to end today's video, or you could fast forward to the end. I'll give you a second to make a decision. You've been warned. Are you ready? Before surgery, my period was hit or miss, wildly inconsistent. I would go for months not having it. I would then get it super heavy. It would last 2 weeks. And then if it ever came more often, it never came for a specific amount of time or a window. I did always experience lower back pain when my period was coming. My hormones would increase, I was quicker to anger. So I always experienced the pre-period hormones, but I never consistently got my period, if that makes sense. I struggled to get pregnant. We went through a whole fertility journey in order to have Callie. If you want a video on that, I will definitely make one for you. The reason why I haven't in the past 8 years made this video is because I know that fertility, as it relates to weight loss particularly, can be very triggering and emotional. I am not a medical expert and I don't have the medical expertise to talk about fertility on its own. However, if you're looking for a story on our journey to how we did end up getting pregnant and all of the steps that I had to go through to combat my infertility, I would be more than happy to share that with you. In some clients, the act of surgery, because it is invasive, has triggered the loss of their period. It does return because your hormones will stabilize, and in some cases it returns quite heavy as if it's making up for the time that it wasn't here. But it is not unusual post-op for your period to take a pause. And then once your hormones stabilize post-op, your period will come back. On the exact opposite end of that, if you are like me, surgery actually caused my period to come when it wasn't scheduled for a long time and very heavy. It was immediate. Like within a week of surgery, I was bleeding. And recently, I was talking to a client and this same thing happened to her. It was almost like the next day that she got her period. She was still in the hospital post-op when her period came unexpectedly and very loudly with such a heavy flow. The TMI portion of this video is in fact not really focused on periods, though I do think that makes a super interesting topic. It's about the shifts in your body beyond your uterus too. This past October, I had my first ever cyst abscess in my armpit. Yeah, my armpit, my left one to be exact. At first, I thought this was a pimple. Now, I think it's important for you to know and for me to reiterate that I have really sensitive skin. My armpits have always been an area of self-consciousness for me. Like this dates back to probably 6th grade. When I was younger, my armpits had like a darker skin tone than the rest of my body, so it made them look shadowy, and I thought or worried that it made them look like they were hairy even if they weren't. I literally didn't wear tank tops until like 2 years ago. I would go to great dramatic lengths to not show my armpits. And in fact, one of my college best friends and I bonded over our weirdness of how we feel about our armpits. Because of my skin's sensitivity, I have used a natural deodorant for like at least a decade. I know I have in fact talked about how much I love my native deodorant. And on top of this, I'm also allergic to nickel, which I learned when I was pregnant, and nickel is the main ingredient in razor blades. So I have to be conscientious of how much I shave, otherwise I get a very uncomfortable bumpy and red rash. This is so much information about my armpits, I know. It's a lot. It's a lot of things that we deal with on a daily basis. After I tried to squeeze my armpit cyst, because yes, I am a picker of things. I don't like bumps. Don't be like me. It's not hygienic. It's not good for your skin. It leaves scars. The cyst wouldn't actually pop, and it just grew and grew until it was the size of, I'm not being dramatic, a golf ball right here in my armpit. In addition, it was incredibly painful. Like I couldn't put my arm, rest my arm by my side because of the lump size that was here. I was constantly like holding my arm out while it was growing. It was red, it was painful, it was angry, so uncomfortable. I assume this was happening as a reaction to a deodorant, or because recently I had been to a yoga retreat and I was wearing a sports bra all day and I was constantly like rubbing up against it. Like the friction was causing this cyst. Eventually, I went to urgent care where they had to drain it. Draining involves taking a needle and putting it into the most painful part of this lump so that they can take a medical razor, cut it open, and push out all the blood and pus that's on the inside. You're welcome for that. Then, because it was so big, they had to pack it so it would heal from the inside out. And the packing had to stay on for 2 days. So I couldn't get it wet until I had to go back, and then they would remove the packing to make sure it was healing properly. I was also put on a very aggressive antibiotic prescription to kill any of the bacteria that could spread that cysty goodness around. Fun story, as if this hasn't been fun enough. The video where I filmed Callie's birthday parties, so she had her at-home Harry Potter party, and then we had a Taylor Swift birthday party for her with all of her little friends. The one where I filmed in the black tank top with the feathers on it, yeah, it's that weekend that this is happening. So what you can't see is that under the left armpit is a huge Band-Aid, like one of those big hospital medical grade ones with a circle of blood and pus in the middle that's being pulled through the packing in my armpit. Go back and watch the video, you'll notice I don't move that arm at all. The urgent care doctors that I saw were super helpful and they didn't make me feel gross about the situation because I certainly did. I felt gross. Like, why is this happening to me? And what did I do to cause this? And again, I don't like bumps. They freak me out. So the fact that this one was so large and that I could like hear it being drained, gross. My instructions from that urgent care visit were to stop wearing deodorant. Apparently, it's fairly common that deodorant, especially natural deodorant because it has more natural oils in it, can cause like gunk to stay inside your pores, to back up inside the pores of your armpit. Well, this seems easy, right? Just don't wear deodorant. Wrong, wrong. So wrong. I bought glycolic acid to help with the bacteria production that can often lead to like bodily odors. I also bought deodorant wipes because nobody wants to stink, right? Essentially, what I've learned is that it's an overproduction of bacteria which causes the smell of BO, and that deodorant quite literally blocks that smell. But if I can't wear deodorant, how do I block the smell, which is where the glycolic acid comes in? And how do I stop an overproduction? I need to tell you that I'm not really a sweaty gal. I sweat when I work out or when it's really hot outside, but I'm not like an overactive sweater. I did ask when I had Botox recently, can you put Botox in my armpits to prevent the bacteria or the like wetness of sweating from my glands? And they said no, because one, you need a doctor's prescription to do that, and I don't sweat enough or qualify for that, but two, it wouldn't necessarily prevent the cysts, it just prevents the actual physical sweat. But I'm now overly sensitive to BO and sweating because I know I'm not wearing a deodorant. Does that make sense? After this debacle, where I have conceded to figure out other ways of preventing perspiration, I assumed that my cyst issues were over. Again, wrong. To really even things out, my body was like, girl, you need a cyst in your right armpit. So that's exactly what it did. This time I knew what it was. I felt like a hard nodule. I knew it wasn't going to be a pimple, so I thought I can deal with this. So I tried to squeeze it once again and drain it at home. Again, not advised, friends. This is not safe. It's not hygienic. It didn't work. If anything, I definitely made it worse. So I went to my doctor, she prescribed me an antibiotic, and she did a little bit of draining on this one, not a ton. Because obviously this was happening the week before we were surprising Callie with our holiday Christmas trip. I learned in that meeting that shaving could also be the reason for this. Not because I'm allergic to nickel specifically, but because shaving agitates your skin. It creates little micro abrasions in your skin when you shave. Also, yet again, fun fact number 1000 for this video, once you've had an abscess or a cyst, it's like the floodgates open and your body says, yes, this is now our response to things. We're gonna do this more often. So let's recap the advice, okay? 1, no deodorant. 2, no shaving. So I'm supposed to look at going into 2024 with wet, smelly, hairy armpits. I refuse to accept this. I asked about waxing because I know that's what you're thinking, and in fact that's more aggressive, so it creates more tiny tears in your armpits. Not an option. Do you know what was recommended? Get in here for this one. Come in close. Nair. Remember Nair from the 80s? The chemical-based, super stinky, messy solution for hair loss? Yeah, so I was wearing natural deodorant to try to prevent maybe breast cancer, to take care of my skin, and the answer here is to add the most chemicals into my armpits. I've been doing this. I've been nairing my armpits. It works okay. It's fine, I think, for a winter solution. Maybe I'm not good at it yet. Do you have Nair tips that I could use? But I also bought an IPL machine, which I'm going to start using. So if you want an update in the future about armpit health, hair, stinkiness, could you let me know? because I'm still on this journey, very much so actively still doing this. I start IPLing tonight. The connection here between my armpit woe is me story and weight loss surgery is hormones. This is about hormones. I have asked every medical expert who I have had to tell this story to time and time again since October, why is this happening now? Why now? Why? I have been shaving and wearing deodorant for decades. Why now? All of them has followed up by asking me about my medical history and my age. The answer is, I'm 38. My hormones shifted significantly after weight loss surgery, and they are once again shifting due to perimenopause. The hormone shift after surgery is a good thing, and I think perimenopause is probably also a good thing because it means that I have, in fact, maintained enough of my hormone stability to have a period. And I still actively have one, so I'm not menopausal, but I'm also only 38. When is this supposed to happen? I am sharing this with you because I want you to know that you aren't alone when weird things happen to your body in a post-op world. We can find solutions to every problem, even when we feel like they are strange, that we're the only ones, or that we think they might be a little gross. Do I want to talk to you about my cyst-riddled, stinky, hairy, wet armpits on camera? No, honestly, not really. But I feel like I owe you the truth, even when it's embarrassing. This channel has been built on my lived experiences in a post-op world from quite literally the 24 hours before surgery until now, where I am almost 5 years post-op. I look at these experiences as a way to make me a better bariatric coach because I become more knowledgeable every time something new happens. So there you have it, my loves. Just a glimpse into the fascinating world of hormone changes post-op. Everyone's journey through the bariatric world is going to be unique. So it is important that when you have a hormonal shift that feels strange to you, or something is physically happening as an effect of a hormonal shift, that you do work with your team, your clinic, your doctors to properly diagnose it. Don't be like me. Don't wait as long as I did. Take care of it so that way you have answers earlier. If you're finding this video content helpful, or you just love that I'm willing to share something really personal with you, I hope that that means I have earned a subscribe from you. If you like this content, there is a like button. I would love to hear from you in the comments about something weird that's maybe happened to your body, or if you want more information on post-op world and periods, etc., or you want an armpit update, I hope you'll comment and let me know. Until next week, my friends, I hope you stay empowered, that you make decisions that work toward and align with your 2024 goals, and that you know I am rooting for you. I love you so much. Bye. These will be bloopers at the end. One of the main reasons in this alteration is because of the gastrointestinal. One of the main reasons for this alteration of your hormones is because of the gastrointestinal. That's hard. One of the main reasons for this alteration in your hormones. Come on, Chels, you can do this. One of the main reasons for this hormonal shifting, for this alteration in your hormones, is because of the gastrointestinal. This is like my 10th time trying to say this sentence, so fingers crossed it is the one. I wrote this, and it's so much easier to write than to say out loud. Fingers crossed. One of the main reasons in the alteration of your hormones post-op is because of the gastrointestinal. No! I did it.